Welcome back, everyone, to another Coach Blakers podcast, number 8, I think. So, I'm going to give you a little bit of secret here. I'm going to give you a secret to help improve your win rate. Now, before we get started, of course, what I want to say, the quote. I always have a quote of the day for each podcast that helps segue into what I want to talk about. So, the quote of today is, if you're tired, learn to rest, not quit. So, if you're tired, learn to rest, not quit. The advice that I gave to a couple of my students, and a couple of not of my students, but mainly my students, it helped increase their win rate like significantly. Like the win rate gap between what they were at and where they are now is kind of phenomenal. So before I started talking about that, of course, I got a plug. I'm sorry. If you guys want coaching, CoachBooker.com. Remember, you don't need to be a tryhard to get coaching or to get a VOD review. It's okay. If you want to get better at League of Legends and you want to stop wasting that time playing over and over and not going anywhere, not getting better, CoachBlanket.com is the way to go. Also, I am having workshops each weekend. This week's workshop is going to be 24th. I can't even speak. It's going to be on the 24th, and it's going to be for ADCs, 6 p.m. Central. For more information on that, make sure you join my Discord and go to the Important News tab. It will tell you how to join the workshop, and it will also tell you about the details for the workshop. But back to the point. I want to talk about what I think is really important for you to be able to increase your win rate and just your overall gameplay in itself. As I said, returning back to that quote one more time, if you're tired, learn to rest, not quit. What does that mean? It means when you're annoyed by your teammates, when you're annoyed, about matchmaking, when you're annoyed about champions, when you really just are not playing your best, you need to do what? Let's go back to the quote. If you're tired, learn to rest and quit. You need to rest, not quit. You don't need to quit. You don't need to stop and feel like, I'm quitting. Because I know a lot of players that when they play their game and they start losing, they don't want to get off until they get a win, until they get a win. Remember, you're not quitting. You're just resting. Why do I put so much emphasis on this? Because when you start playing League, hopefully you're at 100%. Your brain's at 100%. Your mentality's at 100%. Your fingers, 100%. Everything's at 100%. You're ready to go. As you play, your body is going to eventually start degrading. Your decision making is going to start degrading. Your gameplay overall is going to start degrading. And you need to know when it's important to just not quit, but rest. Because if you don't, it just keeps going lower and lower and gets worse and worse and worse. And that's how you get on lose streaks. That's how you get on, that's how you start demoting. So, some people are different. Me, personally, I could probably play 5 games before I start to degrade. Some days it's even less. I know some players can only play about 2 or 3 before they degrade. I know some players can play about 7 or 8 before they degrade. It's up to you to figure out what your number is. People come up to me and say, what's the best number to have? How many games should you have a day of ranked? The answer is whatever you can handle. If you know that, okay, after 2 games, man, I can't do this, then just stop, take a break. If you have a really tough game and you guys win, that's draining way more than just a regular normal game. So take your break, recharge, rest. You don't have to take the break for the whole entire day. Just do it for a couple hours. Go watch a show or something. I promise you, just doing that by itself will not only increase your chances of actually winning because you're refreshed, but also the batch of players that you are with are going to be going up or going down while you're taking your break. What do I mean? Let's say if you're playing with me and we play for 2 hours and you're like, hey, I gotta go, and I play 3 or 4 more games, my MMR should be up or down, which means we may not even play together anymore because my MMR is either too high for you or it's too low for you. That means you have a new me in your game. That is why taking breaks is also good. So it's not just for the person, it's also for the game. That little rest can get you out of having those monkeys on your team, get you out of having those bad junglers, those bad supports, those bad ADs, those bad mid laners, those bad tops, whatever you think is really just ruining your games. That can basically expel them from your matchmaking. So that's why I said it's truly important to know when you're taking your rest. It's truly important to know when your time is done. If you feel like, I have to spend, if you feel like, I want to play a lot more, I don't really have that much time to play, I want to play a lot more games in that time span, Or if you feel like, I need to play more so I can climb faster, you're not really climbing faster because you play more games. On top of that, yeah, I understand if you're like, well, I only have this one day to play and then I have to wait for the next couple of days or whatever. Once again, you're not really climbing faster by playing more. If you really feel like, well, I just want to play League in general because it's fun, well, then play normals, play flex, But if you're serious about getting better, and I hope everybody that's in solo queue is, then you want to make sure that you have like the best advantage to climb as possible. And so if you feel like you're degrading, go play a different mode. That's what they're there for. Normals is there for that. Event, like modes are there for that. They're not there to just say hi. TFT's for that. Runeterra, you got Wild Rift. I mean, if you really still want to keep playing Riot games, I mean, whatever, play Riot games. But take that break. Even if it's just eating, that's good enough. Like I said, I suggest a couple hours. If you really want to be honest, what I suggest to the students that I had an increased win rate, a couple hours. If you want to know the win rate, I could just tell you. So some of the students would have about like 45% win rate. And after doing that, they started in about 52. I know one specific student that they were at a 55 win rate on one of their champions, and now it's at a 57, and that's at like 190 something games, 200 games. And then another student, his win rate was at like, I think 52. Now it's at 67. Just by taking those breaks, just by like that's ridiculous, isn't it? 67, that's nuts. Out of 100 plus games. So that's why I'm telling you, it's important. If you know that you're struggling, not only decision making wise, but just gameplay wise, stop playing. If you are going to play, I just always say basketball because everybody knows what basketball is, or soccer. Like if you're going to play those and you start being like, oh, I'm tired, you usually sit, take a break, catch a breath. You don't continue to play until you die, right? Act like you're exhausted physically, but instead it's mentally. Take that break. That will help you tenfold, I promise. As a certified coach, I promise it will increase your win rate like crazy. Now, as I said, you don't want to try to convince yourself you have to play more in order to climb faster. You don't want to try to convince yourself that, well, I lost 2, I have to play to get that back. No. I'm telling you, if you just take that break, you're not quitting, you're just resting. You take that break, come back, you'll win 3 or 4 more games in a row. That's way better than trying to win those 3 or 4 games at the same time as you lost those 2. You know what I mean? Because now you're just climbing back up. Come back fresh. Now we're at 0-0, right? We're not at 0-2 trying to get that up. We're at 0-0 now. The next time we play, that's 4 wins. We doing it. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you what I know. I see it. I coach it. I'm not BSing you guys. You guys know that when I tell you guys stuff, I'm always honest. There's no reason for me to try to sugarcoat. There's no reasons to try to lie to you guys. I'm honest. And so that's why I said it's important for you to just take that rest, take that break. How y'all doing, by the way? You guys got snacks? You guys chilling? No, because if you don't got no snacks, I want some snacks. I'm kind of hungry. Anyway, back to the point. So it's important to take those breaks. The longer the break, the better the matchmaking difference you'll have. The shorter the break, the shorter the matchmaking difference will be. But yeah, those breaks are very, very important. Even if you're winning 3 in a row, don't try to ride that train. I do it, but don't try to ride that train when you know you're getting tired, when you know that you're degrading. Just be like, okay, well, I don't really feel it anymore. I'm gonna get off and just hop off. You will win more. You'll climb faster. You'll thank me later if you actually do it. It might take a little bit longer because you're playing less games, but you're gonna for sure start winning more than like playing more and just like maybe winning more. You know what I mean? So that's just like the little short, sweet little thing that I think would help increase your win rate. I've seen it multiple times. As I said, I'm not like lying to you or anything. It's very, very important that you learn to take those breaks, those rests. That goes for anything in life, You always want to make sure that you take a break, you take that rest, and you come back later. Even relationships, some people take breaks from their partner, and then later on they come back and the relationship is healthier, it's stronger. Why? Because we took that break, because you allowed time to breathe. It's okay. The game's not going anywhere. It's all right. Chill, relax, go do something else. If you don't have nothing else to do, go to sleep. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. When you're bored, going to sleep is like really easy. Y'all know it is. Also, how about that? How about that Akashan? I don't know that. I don't know how to actually pronounce it. Maybe I watch a Champ Spotlight and they'll be like, "This is how you pronounce it." But I think it's pretty cool. I hope that he doesn't break the game. I'm actually looking forward to season 11. I'm not 11, sorry, 12. I think season 12 will be a big mark for League of Legends, community wise and just gameplay wise. I'm waiting for it, and I just know that will be the turn of like when this game gets really, really good, and I just can't wait for that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk to you guys about today. Like I said, it's something to really think about. If you really want to, what you can do is you can kind of gauge yourself, so to speak. So how do you do that? Pretty much like pay more attention to your play. I would suggest like making a chart and maybe for like a week play how you normally do. Well, obviously you probably already are doing that. And then for the next week, check like your win rate compared to the time how you normally play, where you're just pumping out games. Check the win rate of that next week where you take your breaks and then compare them. And I promise you, you'll be like, what is this nonsense? So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Another podcast will be coming at you soon. If you guys want anything specific to be talked about in the next podcast, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you for approaching this like a coach. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast.